Hey guys, Brenton here, and welcome to a Borderlands 3 video on the topic of my Master Elementalist and Infinite Duration skill build for Zane. In the video description will be timestamps for you to skip to certain parts of the video if you're only interested in the skills I use without the build rundown, or if you want to see raw footage of the build in action, but of course it's recommended to watch the video throughout in order to understand the main purpose and use for this build with the roles it fills. The gameplay is of course TVHM Mayhem 3 with neutral modifiers only reducing the normal damage type that we deal, but as we are 100% Elementalist, this does not matter. The Master Elementalist and Infinite Duration skill build, or MEADS for short, focuses on spreading multiple elemental status effects to crowds of enemies while maintaining our two action skills with a near 100% uptime depending on your play. With excellent self-sustain and HP regeneration and good damage buffs for TVHM Mayhem 3 mobbing, this build really does shine. Now as said, this is a mobbing build primarily, focusing on easily clearing content in Borderlands 3 at the highest difficulty outside of bosses, where the build starts to show some strain and fall off somewhat, but is still capable of holding its own. The best way to play Zane is to use multiple builds depending on what you're doing, so do keep that in mind. There will be a boss spec build that I'll be releasing soon, but in the meantime I do also recommend checking out Lazy Data for his boss nuking Zane build too. This build excels in solo play and is also really good in group play if you can keep up the mechanics behind the build, promoting an active playstyle, as the more people killing things before you, the harder it gets, so it's definitely a high maintenance build. So the core to the build is to freeze absolutely everything you can. In doing so, you're going to be gaining mass HP regeneration, and if your HP bar is already full, you're going to be instantly resetting the duration of your active action skills, so they are in effect for longer. Freezing enemies while you have maximum HP but while your action skills are down will instantly reset both action skills and make them available for use. So you have good crowd control and utility out the gate. The way we have the build set up also means that we are dealing high shock elemental damage to deal with enemy shields, and radiation to buff us and debuff the enemy. Fire comes into play depending on enemy resistances, so we have that covered with our weapon, and the same goes for corrosive, although not nearly as often because we are of course utilizing cryo. During play, our Sentinel is using grenades with our grenade com being the Stormfront here for enemy shield management, and it's also applying the radiation effect. Our barrier is keeping us safe from damage, buffing the damage that we do, and also dealing shock damage and stunning enemies depending on the distance we have between them and ourselves. The Rough Rider's shield is providing excellent damage mitigation, also with its innate bonus, and helping us really benefit from select skills, and of course our relic or artifact is the auto idol, giving us a good chunk of HP back to us on kill, and it's also buffing our elemental damage because of one that we happen to roll. Without further ado, let's get into the build itself and the items that are used for the play so we can actually see how this is going to work. So first off, we have the double agent tree, and we're not going to go too far into this tree whatsoever. We're only going to be picking up 5 points in synchronicity. This is going to make it so we deal extra damage depending on the action skills that we have active. So for each active skill you get extra gun damage because it stacks on top of each other. As you can see, I have plus 4 points from my currently equipped class mod, so I'm going to put 5 points into this and we get 36% gun damage per active action skill. Moving over to the Hitman tree, this is going to be where our Sentinel comes into play, and you can see at the very top I have our action points delegated towards violent speed and violent momentum. Violent speed essentially makes it so we are going to be moving quicker on kill, which is great because being able to move quicker between kill to kill and zone to zone means we're going to be mobbing faster and more efficiently, and also it really does improve the flow of combat and gameplay. This also plays into violent momentum, where at default walking speed we're going to be doing 8% extra damage. However, because this also does increase with the faster you're moving, we can get more than 8% here. Now this doesn't actually scale too well. There is diminishing returns, I'm pretty sure, but I'm only splitting 5 points between violent speed and violent momentum to be able to open up the second part of this tree. 4 out of 5 into Cold Hand. This increases our reload speed, but more importantly also increases it even more on kill, and we are going to be killing a lot, so we're going to have 17% increased reload speed after kill, and that lasts for 15 seconds. You do have a good buffer between each kill that you need to get. Drone delivery makes it so our Sentinel will occasionally drop a free grenade based on the currently equipped grenade mod that we have. So this means that Zane can actually benefit from grenade use despite using 2 different action skills. Salvation is a kill skill where when we kill something for 15 seconds we get 8% of the damage we deal after that kill as HP returned. This is great for HP regeneration and self-sustain. Violent Violence is a kill skill where after we kill something we get a 20% increased fire rate. This is essentially just a DPS up. It does mean you're going to be reloading more, however, because of course you're going to be firing your magazine quicker, but Cool Hand does have us covered there. Death Follows Close just increases the efficiency of our kill skills and the duration. That does mean all of our kill skills do get buffed a little bit and they last longer, which is nice. Now the augments for Sentinel that we're running are Bad Dose and Static Field. Bad Dose will apply the radiation effect to enemies and it can spread to enemies as well. This will increase our movement speed and fire rate, so we move faster. That also plays into Violent Momentum, and fire rate increases our DPS. This also weakens enemies by making them move slower. Cryo's already got us covered there, but you know, it's nice, and makes them attack slower too. Cryo also has us covered there, but we're mainly using this for the self buff. Static Field makes a Sentinel essentially have a shock beam that goes to nearby enemies that drains their shields and replenishes Zanes. We are only going to be using the Rough Rider for this, so we don't benefit from that second half, but because this is a elemental focused build, having our Sentinel also do shock damage alongside radiation damage, not only helping us with armor, helping us with shield management for the enemy as well, but this is good little play and synergy for the entire build. Moving on into the undercover build, and this is where the majority of our points are dumped, as you can see. Now we do use the Rough Rider as stated, so the top 3 skills of this tree aren't actually all that useful for us. We have to pick something, and it's going to be Adrenaline. Zane gains increased action skill cooldown rate. This is based on the percentage of your shield. We have 0% on our shield. I don't even think we benefit from this whatsoever, but we need to pick something, and it needs to be 5 points, and you know, even if we get 1% out of Adrenaline, it's better than Ready for Action. That just won't benefit us. This opens up the second part of this tree. We're going to put 5 into Brain Freeze. Whenever we score a critical hit on an enemy, there's a chance that they will be slowed, and this will stack until they're frozen. The primary weapon that we're using ensures that we're going to freeze everything anyway, but when it comes to swapping to other guns, because we don't just want to be using one gun for the entire fight and the entire game, this can help us keep up with the freezing and applying cryo and stuff like that, so it has got us covered. Stiff Upper Lip. Whenever we're damaged, we're going to gain damage resistance against that type up to 16%. This is good. This just builds into the Rough Rider, also giving us damage reduction and just makes Zane more tanky, which I always appreciate. Rise to the occasion. We gain health regeneration. The lower our shield is, the higher the bonus is going to be, up to a maximum of 5%. This works with Rough Rider, and of course because Rough Rider is always depleted 100%, we're going to get 100% of this bonus from Rise to the Occasion, so essentially we always have a passive 5% HP regen. Really expensive jacket. This just means so elemental dots that are applied to us have a 50% minus effect duration on ourselves, so this helps if we get, you know, applied with fire. We're just going to brush that fire dot right off. Best Served Cold. We only have 1 point in here because we need to open up the other part of the undercover tree, and it only needed 1 point to go into there. Hearty Stock is going to do nothing for us. Ready for Action is going to do nothing for us. Confident Competence is going to do nothing for us because our shields are never active. Utility Belt makes it so that Zane will gain resistance to non-elemental damage. However, if you're wearing a shield and you get hit with corrosive damage, that's going to be converted into normal damage, so it's going to do more damage to you, right? So it's not that good, especially if you get hit by fire as well. That's going to make it normal damage, and in our case where we actually have no shield and it's just raw health, if we get hit by damage from an enemy that is actually meant to do less damage against health, it's going to be converted into normal damage and do more. That's why we're not picking up Utility Belt. On paper it's nice, but in play not so much, and we don't really need it. That, and also, you know, I guess the vanity of having little cryo explosions is cool with Best Served Cold. We don't really need it for the damage. We don't really need it to help freeze anything. We have it covered, but you know, it's more like the cool factor, pun intended there. So this does of course open up these 2 skills. Refreshment, Calm Cord and Collected Refreshment means whenever we damage an enemy that is frozen, we gain some of that damage back as health. 24% life steal. My god, Zane has so much HP regeneration, it's actually dumb. Calm. Calm, cool and collected. Whenever we freeze an enemy, our shields instantly begin recharging. Now because our shield has no shield, this means whenever we freeze an enemy, it's just going to give us HP regeneration for a few seconds. Now because most of the time we're going to have maximum HP because of the absolute dummy thick HP regen we have, this is going to instantly reset the duration of our action skills, and if they're not active and if they're on cooldown, it's going to instantly reset their cooldown. This is where the infinite duration skills come into play here. Calm, cool, collected works with Rough Rider, and it is crazy. So the augments of Undercover, we're going to go with All-Rounder and Deterrence Field. Reason being is because unfortunately Charged Relay, Nanites or some shite, and Retaliation stop working for Zane the moment you pick the barrier up. All-Rounder just makes it a dome, and I was going to recommend using this anyway because it is a 360-degree shield dome around Zane instead of just like a little force field in front of him, so it's got our backside covered. Deterrence Field means so whenever we actually walk into enemies, if they touch the barrier, they take shock damage. Pretty nice actually, it strips shields really efficiently, and it will also stagger them and stun them, so we're also dealing shock damage with our shield. We have enemy shields covered, man, and we have ourselves covered too, and this is really good. Onto some of the gear that I use: Laser Sploder, Nighthawking, Brainstormer, Lineage. I'm pretty sure it's Lineage. I'm just gonna say it's Lineage. Laser Sploder here has got us covered with cryo, so this is freezing absolutely everything with deadly efficiency, so that's why we're just gonna keep spamming frozen enemies everywhere. We have an Arctic Nighthawking, so because it's Arctic prefix, this isn't going to swap from cryo to fire damage, it's just going to swap from 1 pellet to 3 pellets depending on the day and night cycle. I still think this does fire damage anyway, so that's pretty nice. Brainstormer, if for some reason enemies' shields are not being dealt with, I've never ran into that problem. This is the shotgun that's going to deal with it. We've got redundant on here, so it's doubled our pellet count. It's a dirty, nasty little thing, so that's going to deal with shield. And then of course the Lineage here, 421 times 3, damn good little SMG. It's a pistol, but I'm going to call it an SMG. It's a damn good little SMG. Good damage output. Shield of the Rough Rider here, I'll get extra reload speed while the shield is depleted. It's always depleted, it's got no capacity. That's going to mean that we're reloading our guns quicker. We also have some radiation resistance because of the parts that this shield rolled. Preferably you'll get fire, but whatever. We have the Cold Warrior class mod. Only reason why I'm using this class mod is because I do have +4 into synchronicity, as you can see there, so it's giving us extra weapon damage when we have an action skill active, and even more when we have both. If you can get this to drop with one skill, make sure it's +5 synchronicity. This thing is crazy nuts good. Also, applying random status effects when you freeze an enemy, sure, that's pretty cool, but I mean, the moment you freeze something, generally you're just gonna kill it really quickly anyway, so class mod is always up for discussion. I just like using this just because of the skill that's buffing. Stormfront, this is what's being dropped by our Sentinel, that's going to deal with enemy shields. Auto idle, when we kill something, 18% of our maximum health is being returned to us each time, and this one just happens to give me elemental damage bonus by 183%, so that's pretty cool. Some other pieces of gear that you can use: Nemesis is good, these come with 2 elements baked in, it just doesn't tell you, so this one is doing corrosive and shock. King's Call and Queen's Call set, go ahead, you can go ahead and get yourself an elemental set of the Laser Sploder as well if you're so inclined, and your lineages if you wish. If you don't like using the Nighthawking, you can go ahead and pick up an elemental set of your Crossroads if you're more inclined to use these as your SMGs. Hellwalker's a damn good shotgun for your fire slot if you want to go ahead and run with that. I love this thing, it is really amazing, but essentially the one thing that I would say is an absolute must is the Lyuda. Get yourself an elemental set of Lyuda for boss fighting. Like I said, this build is not the best boss build, but the Lyudas help keep it capable, and you're going to want yourself an elemental set just in case. You never know what's going to be ahead around the corner. So that is the build. The rest of this video is just going to be walking through Athenas, doing general mobbing against the Maliwan enemies. The reason why I picked this area is because the Maliwan enemies do come with a lot of shields, some of them come with a lot of armor, and some of them also come with baked elemental resistances, like you have the flamethrower guys and the frozen guys and the shot guys, so that changes up what you have to do, you know, completely regardless if they have shields or armor on them. So we are going to be using a lot of elements in one go, and I'm just going to show you the absolute lethality of this build against Mayhem 3 TVHM mobbing. It's crazy. This is neutral modifiers, it's only affecting normal damage, of which we deal absolutely 0 because we're a 100% elementalist nutcase. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you found this video informative and enjoyable. This is my favorite Zane build build, hands down, son. I love this build so much. Zane's going to be crazy better than this right now, man. He has still got changes coming down the pipeline. Thanks again for watching, guys. Hope you found this video informative and entertaining. I loved making this video, and I'm so sorry it took this long to pump this one out. If you've been following me on Twitter, I've been talking mad shit about dropping this build for the longest time, and it is here, kid. After a couple of reiterations, it is here. The Me-Aids build is here. The Master Elementalist and Infinite Duration Skills build for Zane is here. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please do feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for future content, and I will see you in the next one, which should be my boss nuking build. So until then, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.